Hi everyone, this is Christine with christinestampinspot.blogspot.com, and I'm going to show you a quick video today on how I created this little fall card. I actually had a completely different video planned for you guys today, but I posted this card on my blog on Friday and I had several requests to do a quick video on how I created it. So I'm going to do that for you today. I'm just going to pull this up here a little bit better so you can see the stamping that I did on this card. And this is a card, this is the type of card that I love. It's a card that's super simple, takes about 10 minutes max to put together, but it really looks like you spent a lot of time on it. So let's go ahead and get started. This particular card uses two different stamp sets from Stampin' Up. It uses the tree image from a Sheltering Trees stamp set, and I know I've been using this stamp set a lot in my blog and in my videos. I really hope I'm not boring anyone. I just love this stamp set, and there are multiple uses for it, so I'm using that stamp set today. Hopefully you're not bored. And I'm also using Thankful Forest Friends, which is coming out in the brand new Stampin' Up 2015 holiday catalog, which you can begin ordering from on September 1st, so just a couple days. If you'd like a free copy of that catalog, please shoot me an email. I'll have all my blog links up on YouTube at the bottom of this video, and you can click on my blog, click on the request a catalog tab on my blog and shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to get one of those in the mail to you. So let's go ahead and get started on this card. Now, if you've seen my other videos on how I work with this Sheltering Tree stamp set, I like to start from the bottom and work my way up so I don't run out of space up top here. So I'm going to pull over my Whisper White cardstock, and I cut this at 3 7/8 by 3 1/2. There's no magic to that number. I just tend to work with my images and stamp them first and then cut the paper down. I just find that things work better for me that way. So I'm going to use my pumpkin pie ink pad here, and I am going to ink up the little swoosh that goes at the bottom underneath the tree, and I'm inking that up in pumpkin pie, and we're going to stamp that twice here along the bottom. And remember, when you're working with photopolymer stamps, you want to stamp straight down and then pull it straight up, and also make sure that you are working with something underneath your paper. I just have a piece of white foam here on mine. You can purchase the Stampin' Up scoring mat, or piercing mat rather, I'm sorry, the Stampin' Up piercing mat, which is only $5 in the catalog. It works perfectly. You could use a thick magazine or a mouse pad, that also works. So I'm going to stamp my second swoosh, and there's no magic to this. Again, I'm just sort of stamping it along the bottom here to give a little fall colored bottom to my tree. And then the next thing that we're going to do is stamp our tree. We're going to pull over our Early Espresso ink for that. I love the Early Espresso for the tree. It's just a really nice dark brown ink, and I just think it's perfect for this tree. So I tend to always use that just about for my tree. Okay, so now we're going to stamp the tree down, and we're going to do this slightly, just slightly to the left, and you'll see why as we get to building this image here. So I'm just going to stamp that down and back up. Okay, and there's your tree. So pretty. We can actually go ahead and put away our Early Espresso ink now. We're done with that color. The next step is going to be to go ahead and use the leaf stamp for our tree. And I'm going to do a multicolored tree again. I'm going to start, or multicolored leaf tree. And I'm going to start with Daffodil Delight, which is a very nice yellow that Stampin' Up has. I just love this color. So we're going to ink up our leaves here and stamp it right down over top of our tree. And what's great about these photopolymer stamps is you can see exactly where it's going. Pull that up, and there you go. And you could honestly leave it like that if you wanted to, but I really love the look that multiple colors has. So I'm going to quickly wipe this down with a baby wipe. I'd usually be using my Stampin' Mist cleaner, but because I want to do this quickly for you guys, I'm just going to quickly rub over this with a baby wipe. Okay. And now we can go ahead and put away our Daffodil Delight ink. And we're going to do our second layer now, which is going to be pumpkin pie. So I'm going to pull that back out. Stamp this down here. Really good. And then I'm going to go just a little bit to the left of this, so it sort of offsets the yellow, and stamp down. And then pick it right back up. And isn't that beautiful? Look at that. It just gives that multicolored look, but guess what? We're not done quite yet. Almost. If you'll remember, if you watched my first fall tree, I sort of added color using this stamp right here from the stamp set. Now this it's meant to coordinate perfectly with these little blades of grass. It overlays it perfectly to look like flowers springing up. But I'm actually going to use it to also highlight or add some color to my tree. So I'm going to pull out Cherry Cobbler, and I'm going to ink this up here. And I am just going to, in my first tree, I did a lot of different colors. For this, we're just going to ink this just a little tiny bit. We're not going to go crazy, just to add a little bit of that Cherry Cobbler color. Oh, how about right here, right in the middle there, and then down here. And that's it. I just wanted to add just a little bit of that red color. Can you see that? Look how pretty that is. Oh, I just love this stamp set, if you couldn't tell, right? So the next part to our card then is I'm going to go ahead, before I do anything else on the image panel, I'm going to go ahead and start putting a little bit of the card together. So this is just a normal, when it's folded, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card, and I started with my yellow Daffodil Delight card base. So let me just set the card base aside for just a moment. This is going to be the base that my image is going to sit on, like this. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these pieces together with my snail adhesive super quick here. The red is Cherry Cobbler, and the orange is pumpkin pie. And they're just so beautiful. I just love fall. It's one of my favorite times of year for all the beautiful colors that nature gives us. And I am going to go ahead and also glue my image panel down on top of this. I tend to use lots of layers sometimes, so you don't have to do the same layers that I'm doing. You could just back it with just the Cherry Cobbler by itself and be done with it. For this card, I kind of wanted to go a little bit all out. So there's the image panel mounted on the Cherry Cobbler and the pumpkin pie, and I just did 1/8 of an inch layers on this one. I usually do 1/4, but for this one I just went ahead and did 1/8. So this is the panel that the image panel is gonna sit on top of. If you can see that there in the camera. So this is pumpkin pie cardstock, and this gorgeous paper comes from our Into the Woods designer series paper, and this is also available in our 2015 holiday catalog, which you can begin ordering from on September 1st. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down using my snail right on top of the pumpkin pie. And again, this is just, it goes 1/8 of an inch smaller and 1/8 of an inch smaller from your Daffodil Delight card base. Now before I adhere this to my card base, I'm going to wrap some of my gold twine from Stampin' Up around the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over and just do a layer there of snail adhesive. And then I'm just going to stick one end of my twine down, and I'm going to wrap it 3 times. I actually want to go just a little bit lower than that. Okay. And I'm going to wrap this around 3 times. And then I'm just going to grab my paper snips and snip it right about, there. If I can get it to cut. There we go. Okay. So we've wrapped this, and I'll play with it in just a minute. But first I want to go ahead and get the adhesive laid down. Okay. And I'm going to go one up the middle as well to help hold my adhesive down. It's probably easier if you use Scotch tape on the back when you're working with adhesive. Believe it or not, I'm out of Scotch tape at the moment, so I have to do it the old-fashioned way with just my adhesive. And then I'm just going to pull this down just a little bit, and then just kind of work my fingers through with the layers just to kind of make them weave in and out of each other. And I'm going to move my twine out of the way, and now we can go ahead and glue this down to our card base. Just like that. Okay, that's done. Now we can go ahead and place our image panel on top of our card base. And what I'm going to do with that, because I want it to pop a little bit, I am a huge user of dimensionals. So we're going to put 5 dimensionals on the back here. I just love the extra little bit of dimension that these give your projects. So I'm almost always using dimensionals. They are a must-have for me in my craft room here. Okay, let me just peel off the backs here of the dimensionals. Okay, that's done. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere this, just about here. There's no magic to where I'm putting it. I just whatever I kind of think looks good here. Let me pull that down. I'm a little bit out of the camera frame. Okay, so that's my image panel adhered now to the main card. So there's just a few parts left. I'm going to bring back over the original card here, and you'll see I've added the fox on the original card from the Thankful Forest Friends brand new stamp set. So what I did is I just stamped my fox down onto Whisper White cardstock using Cherry Cobbler ink. And then I cut him out just using my paper snips. I didn't want to take time on the video to do that, so I did that beforehand, and here he is all cut out. And he's really easy to cut out. And I just cut my dimensionals in half and placed them on the back of him. I just did 3/2 of dimensionals on the back of him. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere him down right here on my tree, or on my image panel rather. And there he is. So cute, and he pops up really well. You can see that dimension there. It's just so super cute. So there he is. And now there's just 2 things left to add. The first is this thanks. And these are the natural wood elements. They come in 3 different words: thanks, celebrate, and congrats. And you get these in the annual catalog. They're in the back there if you're interested. And you get about 24 of them for, I think, $4, something like that. So you really get your money's worth. And I'm just going to adhere this at the bottom here. And I'm going to do that by using my Tombow glue, multi-purpose glue. And a little of this really does go a long way. So you don't need a whole bunch here. I'm just going to kind of put it in key places. You can see I'm just dotting this here. Just want to make sure I'm in the camera frame. Yes, I am. Okay. So you're just going to dot it like that and then place it right at the bottom of your card. And it will adhere right over top of that twine and everything. This is wonderful glue for this. Just hold it down for a minute when you're doing this. And then lift your hands up carefully, and then you just want to let it kind of sit there for a few minutes before you go picking up your card or anything, just to make sure that it is firmly adhered down. Okay, so that's that. And then the last part of this was this little acorn that I put right here on the side of the image panel. And the way that I did that, this is also another wood element, and it comes in the holiday catalog. It's from the Into the Woods collection. And as you can see, it's wood, just like the word thanks. But on my finished card here, you can see that I've got some color on it. So how I did that was I just took my crumb cake ink pad, which is a very, very light brown, and I set it, sorry, hit the camera again. Let me set it down here. And I put my acorn face down into the ink pad. And then I just took my finger and just sort of poked at it. And then carefully pick it up. And there you go. And you're going to want to wait just a minute or 2 for that to dry before you adhere it, so you don't, A, get your fingers all inky, and B, smear the ink on it. I'm going to go ahead and close up that crumb cake ink pad. Bring this back over here. While that acorn is drying, I will do one of the last steps. Every color family that Stampin' Up! Has, you can purchase these dots. Let me move the card for a second so you can see them. In each color family, this is the brights, and as you can see, I'm going to use the pumpkin pie little dots, and I'm going to put them right up here just for some added fun. Honestly, there's no reason other than I think it looked cute. And you can do whatever works for you. You could use the Cherry Cobbler from the Regals collection if you preferred. I just happen to have the brights in these dots right now, so I thought, well, I'll just use the pumpkin pie. And these are great because the adhesive on the back is perfect. Just like if you have the rhinestones from Stampin' Up, the adhesive is just perfect. Those aren't going anywhere, and it's just wonderful. Okay, so this is about dry, and he's just going to be placed right here. So I'm again going to use my Tombow multi-purpose glue. I'm just going to put just a little dab right down here in this corner and stick my little acorn on, and that really is enough glue to hold that. I'm just going to push it down for a second with my ink pad. And again, you'll want to let the glue dry. So just kind of leave your card stationary for a few minutes after you're done with the Tombow glue. And there's your card. The last step is I would probably add a piece of Whisper White on the inside just so people could write their message in there. And that's it. And here's the original one. Okay, so I hope that was helpful, and just to show you how you can use all of these stamp sets together to make a gorgeous scene. You could do this for spring, you could do this for summer, and just different colors with your tree and a different animal, or put the animal in a different color. It's just wonderful. So hopefully you found this video helpful and you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, bye.